How's it going, everybody? This is Double Wide 6, and today I'm going to bring you a video on how to hook up a PEX pipe to an air compressor. So if you're running lines in a garage like I am, you'll be able to use PEX lines rather than copper lines, and it's going to save you some time and money. As far as what I read, PEX can hold up to about 1,000 psi before the burst point. So my compressor tops out about 125, so we shouldn't have a problem. And I've heard of other people doing this. I've heard of people running lines under their floors, under the concrete, using PEX, and I've heard of people running lines down walls using PEX. Luckily for me, I'm just running it on the outside of a wall, and we're just going to show you how to hook that up in case you're interested. And if the line would ever break, I could easily replace it, but I don't think it will. But it's a lot easier than copper. So you can follow along this video. We'll show you how to do it and the parts you need. Alright, so obviously you're going to need some PEX. If you don't know what PEX is, it's a plastic pipe. They make it in red, which symbolizes hot water. They make it in blue, which symbolizes cold water. And they make it in white, which is neutral water, I guess. Doesn't really matter what color you get. This is 1/2-inch PEX, and you know, it's somewhat rigid. It's got about an 1/8 inch wall all the way around, and it should work really well for our air pressure. So from the PEX, we're going to go to this fitting. You'll notice the end of the fitting has barbs on it. This is a PEX fitting. This is what you call a female PEX fitting. So we have a female, it looks like that. Here's a male. It's kind of the opposite. So the threads are on the inside of the female, and the male, the threads are on the outside. And this thing here is basically an adapter. It goes from 3/8 of an inch to, this is 3/8 here, and so is that, and it goes down to 1/4 inch, which is going to be what your air compressor fitting is. I've already put Teflon tape on these pieces, so we're going to tighten them up, put them together. Alright guys, I think we're about ready to attach this thing. I've taken the time to tighten this up. So you have the female adapter, then the the adapter piece that goes in the middle there, and that goes from 3/8 down to 1/4, and then this fitting you might recognize that fits an air compressor pressure fit. So what we're going to do is tie these barbs onto our PEX tubing. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your PEX, and you'll take have these copper rings, and they're meant to slip right over the PEX like that, and then you take the barb fitting, fit it inside, and then we're going to crimp that with these crimpers. Alright, so here are my crimpers, and they look a little rough. If you take a look, I had to bust out like a major weld on the back side of these things. They actually broke right here. There's like a rivet going through on both sides. I now have a bolt and a lock nut. But yeah, the thing broke, so I fixed that myself. So it looks a little rough. But anyhow, this is for 3/4. This one's for 1/2 inch. This tool, it's called a Shark Bite 3/4 1/2-inch PEX crimp tool, number 23251. You can get it at Home Depot for about 70 bucks, I think. Alright, so we'll show you how to crimp this thing. So we're just going to take our PEX tool, line it up the way it needs to be. A little tough to do one-handed. Get that ring right where you want it, and you're going to take your PEX tool, and all it takes is a crimp. Alright, that one's done. So that's one end. Alrighty gang, so we've hooked up to the air compressor, and the other end of our PEX line is going to go to our regulator. So here's actually the regulator. It's kind of laying upside down on my workbench. So we're going to attach it using a ring, and we're going to put it right on the barbed fitting, and we will crimp that right in place. Alright, that looks pretty good, and this is going to end up tipping up this way and getting mounted right on the wall. There's a stud right here up above this outlet, so I'm just going to screw that in and see if it works. Right about here is where I want it. And I'm pretty sure there's a stud here. Yep. And we'll put another screw in the other side. Alright, so the regulator's mounted. Alright guys, project's completed. Standing back a little bit just to show you what's going on. I got this new air compressor, so I hooked that up. It's pretty huge, so it's going to go in the corner of the shop there. And I used to run a pancake compressor right down in that spot, and I just moved it out of the way for my work today. And I'm gonna retire the pancake compressor, just use that for like my nail guns and framing projects on the road. But I want to use this big air compressor, and I wanted to make it easy to access it. I don't want to always be walking over to the corner and plugging into it and adjusting the pressure on the manifold there. So what I've done is we've taken that PEX line out of that compressor. It goes behind the workbench and it ties in right here to a regulator. With that regulator, I can set it to whatever working pressure I want. So if I want it at 40 psi for painting, I can do that. If I want it at 100 psi for a nail gun, I can do that. So we can adjust that there. And the air coming out of that regulator follows that black hose, and it goes down underneath the workbench. And I've set up a cow udder. So I've got it set up so that I can hook up to 3 different sources of air. The first source that you see there goes up through the wall all the way up to there, and that's my main air source. Okay, and the other 2 sources on this cow udder can be used for whatever I want. If I'm running more than one gun for a project or something like that, I can hook up right there. So what I've done is I've actually set up a shutoff so I can turn on air or turn off air, which makes it a little bit easier to hook in your lines. There's not so much pressure blowing at them. And I can just take a line and plug it in here. I don't know if I can do it with one hand. There we go. Plug in a line with one hand, and we'll turn on our air pressure, and we should be able to work 2 devices. So if we take a look over at the table, coming down from the ceiling, we have the impact. Seems to be working. And over here is a air chisel. So that pretty much completes this project. I'm hoping this will work out pretty nice for me. It's kind of a big job getting everything set up, but I'm liking it, and I have easy access if I need to get in there. Probably won't be too often that I'm running more than one hose out of there, but if I want to, I can. So I'm Double Wide 6, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, feel free to post them. If you're interested in the PEX pipe for plumbing, that type of stuff, I have a couple videos on how to install that as well. So check out Double Wide 6. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys.